Now let's start with another section of questions. Now this one says what? An object which expand by an object which expand by 0.15 centimeter per meter over rise in temperature of what? 20 degrees Celsius has a linear expansivity of what? Of dash. Now, they say an object expand by 0.515 by 1 meter. That means for every 1 meter over a rise in temperature of 20 degrees Celsius has a linear expansivity of dash. Now, what I want to do now, that means this for every 1 meter of the object, for every 1 meter of the object, the body expand by what? 0.15 meter for the every original length of 1 meter. That's what they mean by what? Expand by 0.15 centimeter already per 1 meter over a rise. What? So that means what is 1 meter? Is 100 centimeter. Please don't forget. So in that case, we have our what? Linear expansivity given to us as what? What is linear expansivity formula? We are going to have it as what? Change in length over what? The original length times change in temperature. They give us, they say what? If over a rise of temperature of what? What is change in temperature? Rise temperature is given as 20 degrees Celsius. So we'll play with it. This one will have what? 0.15 centimeter divided by what? 100 centimeter. They hide the length, original length from that statement. They say 0.15 expand by 0.15 per every meter. That means for every 1 meter. So times what? What is change in temperature? 20. So this one will cancel this one. So what we have now, we have 0.15 divided by what? 2000. Now what do we do? This one is same thing as what? 15 divided by what? 2,000,000. You can press your calculator. So 5 here will give us what? 3. 5 here, 5 will give us 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. That means 5 in 20 you have 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 0. That means we would have 3 over 4,000. If you get an answer, maybe press your calculator for this. What do you have? What do you have as a press calculator? I want to have it like what? Class, what do you have? 0.0, 0.0. Then we would have what? That is 30. Another 0. That is about 30,000. That means 7 something. Confirm it for me. 7.5 thereabout per Kelvin. So I'm going to have 40 if I press calculator. 3 divided by what? 4,000, 40,000 rather. That will give us what? 0. That is about 0.000075. That's what I want to have. So that is what option A say what? 0.0000 into 475 per meter per Kelvin. That one is wrong. Option B say what? The unit of that one is makes wrong. The same option B is also what? Correct in value, but the unit is wrong. C is correct in terms of the unit and the value. D is what? Wrong by the unit and the value. So that is, the unit is correct, but the value is wrong. So that is option what? C to be correct. Now number 19 say what? Which of the following graph is consistent with Charles' law? Now Charles' law is saying that the volume what of a fixed mass of gas is directly proportional to the what? To the temperature, provided what pressure is kept constant. And if we draw a graph of Charles' law, drawing what? Temperature against volume. This is what I want to have. Volume against temperature rather. It will cut at minus 273 here degrees Celsius, 0.15 degrees Celsius. This point is what we call the absolute zero what temperature. We have option A. They are giving us like this. The graph is like this. When you plot what? PV against what? Against temperature. So if you plot V, you got V is proportional to T. So V is equal to what? KT. Then V over T is equal to K. So the graph now, we cut out if it's plotting what? Degrees Celsius in temperature against, or volume against temperature in degrees Celsius. But if you plot the graph of volume against temperature in Kelvin, you pass through the origin. So option A is wrong. Option B is what? PV times what? Against temperature in Kelvin, which will pass it through the what? Origin. Wrong. We have what? V. Option C say V. Not let that what? Then what is it? Then this one, that one is what? The last one is what? This graph. Like this. When you plot V against what? Temperature in degrees Celsius. So this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So this one is the D is the correct answer. Cutting at what? At minus 273 absolute 0 what? Temperature. So I will go for D. The next one says what? An electric what? Which is number 3. An electric kettle takes 6 ampere from a 220 volt supply. How long will it take to heat 3 kg of water from 30 to 90 degrees? Now what I want to do now is this. Now they say I've answered that question. D. They say which of the following graph is consistent with graph charts we have. Number 3. He said an electric what? Kettle takes what? Electric kettle takes what? 3 ampere with 6 ampere at that current. Sorry for that. 6 ampere of current from a 220 volt. That means voltage is what? 220 volts supply. How long? How long is talking about time? How long will it take to heat what? 3 kg mass. Mass is what? 3 kg. Let me just change my marker. 3 kg mass. 3 kg mass of water from what? From initial temperature of 30 degrees Celsius to final temperature of what? Final temperature of what? 90 degrees Celsius. They didn't give, okay, they gave us specific capacity of water to be what? 4180 joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Now, what we're going to do is to use this formula. We have to be fast with our solving here, our calculator. Now, we have half for IVT is equal to what? MC change the temperature. That's the formula to use. ID heat energy equal to what? The energy to raise the temperature of water. And I is what? 6 times what? 220 times time is equal to what is mass? 3 times what? 4180 times what is our change in temperature? Change in temperature is what? 90 minus 30. Don't forget. So that will give us what? Divide both sides by what? By 6 times 220 to make time the subject of what? 6 times what? 220. Now, what we are going to have now is what? We are going to have it as what? 220. This will cancel this. So what is time? Time will give us what? Sorry for that. Time will give us what? This will cancel this one. Then this one is 60. 60. So 6 here we are going to have 10. Then once again, we are going to have what? 3 times what? 418 times what? 10 divided by what? 22. Yes, divided by 22. Because 6 already cancelled. What do you have as our answer here? I want to have it as what? This. So that is 570 what? Seconds. Let's see what we want to have in our option. We have option A is what? A is what? 9.5 seconds. B is what? 20 seconds. C is what? 570 seconds. C is what? 4620 seconds. So that is answer is what C. Number 4 is also calculation before we now begin to what look at other ones. This number 4 is said 1 kilogram of hot water at temperature T is added to 3 kilogram of cold water at cold water at 30 degrees Celsius. If the final temperature of the mixture is 50 degrees, calculate the value of T, neglecting the heat absorbed by the container. I want you to solve this question and send to me in the comment section. So A is your 60 degrees Celsius, B is 80 degrees Celsius, C is 110 degrees Celsius, and D 120 degrees Celsius. I want you to solve this question. Try it and send your answer to me in the what? In the comment section. Number 5. Let's look at number 5. Number 5 says what? The boiling point of water at the top of a mountain is lower than the what? At the sea level, because now don't forget that the boiling point at the mountain is what? Is lower because the pressure at the mountain is lower than the pressure at the sea level. Option A say the atmospheric pressure at the top of the mountain is higher than sea level. No, the atmospheric pressure at the top of the mountain is lower than that of the sea level. Correct. Option B is the answer. C say the sun heats the water more effectively at the top of the mountain. No, the other ones are wrong. Relative density option D says it's lower than the top at the top of the mountain. No, that is wrong. Number 6, it says what? The evaporation of a liquid results in cooling because A, the average kinetic energy of the liquid decreases. B, they say the density of the liquid decreases. C, the vapor density of the liquid decreases. D, the volume of the liquid decreases. While E, the volume of what? Of liquid increases. So the answer to that question is that what? The average kinetic energy of the liquid decreases. So which is option A. That will be the not density, not vapor pressure. Is average kinetic energy, which measures temperature, and evaporation has to do with what? With temperature. One of the factors that affect is winds. We have what they call watts. It's affected by wind of the surrounding, affected by area and temperature. Then humidity also what affect. Also, it can say the wind speed of the surrounding. So, but that is not the question. So the answer to that question is average kinetic energy of the liquid decreases, because the average kinetic energy is measure of what? Of temperature of a liquid. So A is the correct answer, decreases. Now the next one says what? The saturated vapor pressure of a liquid depends on dash. A, density. B, mass. C, pressure. D, temperature. The answer is temperature. Number 8 says what? The sound from a radio receiver is transmitted through air by a series of dash. It's transmitted to A, crest and trough. B, rarefaction and compression. D, rarefaction and reflection. C, D, sensation and refraction. The answer is rarefaction and the what? And compression. Don't forget that rarefaction, the what? The pressure is what? Is not too high. While compression there, the pressure is high. So in that case, take note of that. Rarefaction and compression. Number 9. Number 9 says what? If the what? The critical angle of a glass air boundary is what? The critical angle of a glass air boundary, glass and air boundary is C. That means we are trying to say that the body travel from what? From glass to air. So if you travel from glass to air, that means we are trying to achieve what? Critical angle only occur when total internal reflection is about to what? That is the last stage of what? Of total internal reflection before it can occur. Now, if what? It travel from glass to air. Now, the angle that we what? This angle theta that will make the refraction in the what? In the air lens density to be at what? At the surface of the glass. Is this angle will now be called a critical what? Angle. Critical angle. We know that air to glass is equal to sine theta in air over what? Sine theta in glass. You understand? So now air to glass, that means what? Ng over Na. That is what it means by that. Now, what we want to do now is that since it's in glass, now the angle of what incident that will on the glass side, glass, that will produce refraction of 90 degree in the less dense medium, that will make the word refraction be at the interface between the word or the boundary surface between glass and air, is what we call, this will now be called the critical angle C. So that means that this glass is what? Sin theta, the angle in air is 90 divided by what? Sin in glass is what? Is C. Theta in glass is capital letter C. Is equal to what? N glass over what? N air. Now what is sin 90? Sin 90 is what? 1. So we have that 1 over sin C is equal to N. So this is the formula which is air to glass. So this is the formula of what? Critical angle. We have option A. We have what? 90 over sin C. Option B says N equal to sin C over 90. D says what? C says sin 90 times sin C equal to N. And D say what? 1 sin C equal to 1 over N, which is same as what? Sin C will be equal to 1 over N. Now let's look at number 10. Number 10 now. If an object on the principal axis of a what? Of a concave mirror. This one we have just 3 more questions to go. So that we can end this section also. If what? An object on the principal axis of the this is what? A concave mirror. Throw it from this vertex or the pole. Let's say this is center. This is the principal axis. They say, well, if an object on the principal axis of the concave mirror is located between the principal focus, let's say F, and the center of curvature, let's see center of curvature. Look at the object here. Curvature. The image form is what? Look at the image here, class. Then this is what? If this is what we call the parallel ray, then there will be a focus ray. That is focus ray. It will go through the what? The principal focus and return back. Now there is also what we call the what? The vertex ray. That one can come here. You understand me? So, but when those two is enough for us, then it will not what get to this place now. This is what we call the what? The image. This is the image that will be formed. This is the object between what? F and what? C. So the image is what? Is what? Number 1, real. It is what? Inverted. It is what? Behind what? It's formed behind C. Behind C. And it is what? Magnify. Enlarge. Input the word enlarge. So you look at the option there. Option A say it is real, inverted and diminished. Wrong. It is virtual, erect and magnified. Wrong. It is real, inverted and magnified. Yes, correct. That is option C. Now let's go to what? Number 11. Number 11 is a calculation. They said an object is 2 centimeters high, is placed 20 centimeters from a converging lens or focal length. Now this is a calculation of what? On lens. They say what? A what? An object of 2 centimeters high, that means height of object is 2 centimeters, is placed 20 centimeters from a converging lens. That object distance is what? 20 centimeters from a converging lens, or focal length of what? What focal length is what? Of the converging lens is what? Focal length is 15 centimeters. I mean, this object should be placed between F and C. Do you I'm looking because it's greater than focal length. Okay. Okay. Calculate the height of the what? The image form. Now let's find the what? First of all, 1 over F equal to 1 over U plus what? 1 over V. Let's object distance, image distance. Let's use this formula first. Since the converging length, it will be plus 15. So 1 over 15 equal to 1 over 20 plus 1 over V. I needed to get V first. So what do we do? How do we get V? Yeah, collect like terms using this formula now. 1 over 20 is equal to 1 over V. Let's solve. What is the SCM? SCM is what? Let's say what? 60. 60 divided by what? 15. We have 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 60 divided by 20 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Is what? Then 1 over V. So what will now be our answer there? Take the inverse of both sides. V will now be equal to what? 60 over 1. What is the answer? 60 centimeter. Now, that is what? Object distance. Now, class, let's do something here. Magnification equal to what? Object, image height over object height equal to image what? Distance over object distance. You understand? Although they always have minus here, but let's wait and see what will happen now. Now, look at the board. Since it's height we are comparing with. Now, what we're going to do now is, what is object distance? 20 centimeter. Object height rather. 2 centimeter rather. What is image height? The image height is what? H. We are looking for it. Image distance is what? 60. Object distance is what? 20. We are giving. So cross multiply. So what do we have now? 20 H1 equal to 120. So divide both sides by 20. We are going to have what? Please, we are sorry for that. We are sorry for that. We are going to have what? 6 what? Centimeter. So what do we have now? Option A, we have what? 2.67 centimeter. B, we have what? Have 3 centimeter. D, we have 6 centimeter. And C, we have 6 centimeter. D, we have 60 centimeter. So see what the answer is what? 6 what? Centimeter. The image height is what? 6 centimeter. Don't forget that image height over object height equal to image distance over object distance. Most of the time we always put minus here for inverted image. For inverted image is what? Minus. For erect is plus. So now let's go. So we get our answer as C. The next one says what? Number 12. Or number 12. It says, what is stored by a dry Leclanche cell? Leclanche cell is a cell that has, we call it Leckazi. Leckazi is a shortcut for what? Leclanche cell has carbon as the positive and Z as what? Zinc as negative. Then it has ammonium chloride as what? Electrolyte. Then it has what? The manganese 4 oxide as the polarizer. Then you can use what? Because to reduce what hydrogen bubbles is polarization, you use what they call a depolarizer, which manganese 4 oxide. Now all those ones are what? But the energy stored by a dry Leclanche cell is chemical energy. That is number 12. Then the last one to end it, number 13. So what is the magnitude of electric field intensity between what? 2 plates of 30 centimeter if the potential difference between the plate is 4.2. Now, the last one to just what? End it up. We just say that what electric field, when you are giving distance and what giving what? Potentiometer, when you are giving what? Electric field is equal to V over D. That is it. We are giving V as what? 4.2V, and we are giving distance equal to what? 30 centimeter. So we are asked to find what? The potential what? The electric field. So the electric field now will have what? E equal to what? 4.2V over 30 centimeter. What is 30 centimeter? Set as 0.3. So 4.2 divided by what? 0.3. If you divide by 100, 1, 2. So meter volt. So this one will give us what? 42 over 3, the same thing, which is equal to what? 14 what? Volt per meter. That should be the answer. 14.0 volt per meter. We have option A, 126.0 volt per meter. B, 14.0 volt per meter. C, 12.6 volt per meter. D, 3.6 volt per meter. The answer is 14.0 volt per meter. We shall see in our next video. Thank you for watching. God bless you.